Welcome back, my dear students. In marketing research course, we will begin chapter 5 about measurement and scaling, non-comparative scaling techniques. We will divide this chapter into two parts, part 1 and part 2. In this lecture, we will discuss part 1. Chapter 5, it's important that we establish reliability and validity of our skills, otherwise we can't believe in our data. After reading this chapter, the student should be able to describe the non-comparative scaling techniques, distinguish between continuous and the items rating skills, and explain Likert, semantic differences, and stable skills. And after reading this chapter, you should able to discuss the decisions involved in contrasting items rating skills with respect to the number of skill categories, balanced versus unbalanced skills, odd or even number of categories, forced versus unforced choice, degree of verbal description, and the physical form of skill. And you should discuss the criteria used for skill evaluation and explain how to assess reliability, validity, and generalizability. This chapter have outline overview about the non-comparative scaling techniques, continuous rating scale, and some items rating scale like the Likert scale, semantic difference scale, and the stable scale. The non-comparative item rating skill decisions. Some decisions involved in the rating scale and the multi-item skills. Then the skill evaluation included the measurement accuracy, reliability, validity, relationship between reliability and validity, then the generalizability, and choosing a scale technique that it's important for. We will begin with the non-comparative scaling techniques. In the non-comparative scaling techniques, respondents using the non-comparative scaling employ whatever rating standards teams appropriate to them. They don't compare the object being rated either to another project or to some specified standard, such as your idea or ideal brand. They evaluate only the one object at a time, and for this reason, the non-comparative skills are often referred to as monadic skills. The non-comparative techniques consist of continuous and items rating skills, which are described in the next table and discussed in the following section. The non-comparative scaling techniques definition in the slide is the respondents evaluate only one object at a time, and for this reason the non-comparative skills are often referred to as monadic skills, and the non-comparative techniques consist of continuous and items rating skills. In the continuous rating skills, respondents rate the objectives by placing a mark at the appropriate position on a line that runs from one extreme of the criterion variable to the other. The form of the continuous scale may vary considerably as we shows here in the figure. We have some example of version 1 and example for version 2, and version 3 begins with very bad, neither good nor bad, or very good. We have an example of the non-comparative scale, the rapid analysis and testing. Then in the items rating skills, we have another type of scale, the itemed scaling skills. The respondents are provided with a scale that has a number of brief description associated with each category, and the categories in the items rating scales are ordered in items of scale position, and the respondents are required to select the specified category that best describes the object being rated. And in the items rating skills, we should provide the scale that has a number of a brief description with the categories, and the categories are ordered in terms of scale position, and the respondents are required to select the specified category that best describes the basic object being rated. The items rating scales are widely used in the marketing research and form the basic components of more complex scales, such as the multi-item rating scale. We first describe the commonly used items rating scale, like the Likert, semantic, differential, and stable scales, and then examine the major issues surrounding the use of these scales. We have an example of the items rating scale, is the Likert scale. The Likert scale, named after its developed Rance's Likert. The Likert scale is a widely used rating scale that requires the respondents to indicate the degree of agreement or disagreement with each of the serious statements about the stimulus object. Typically, each scale item has 5 response categories ranging from strongly disagree to strongly agree, like here in the slide. The question began with the strongly disagree and ended with the strongly agree, from number 1 to number 5. We illustrate with a Likert scale for evaluating attitudes toward C's in the context of the department store project. Likert scale have some instructions like the listed here are different opinions about Sears. Please indicate how strongly you agree or disagree with each by using the following scale. 1 shows strongly disagree, 2 disagree, 3 neither agree nor disagree, number 4 agree, number 5 strongly agree. Another type of scales is the semantic differential scale. The semantic differential is a 7-point scale with endpoint associated with popular labels that have semantic meaning. In a typical application, respondents rate object on a number of items, 7-point rating scales bounded at each by one of two popular adjectives such as cold and warm. We illustrate this scale by presenting a respondent's evaluation of series on the 5 attributes. The respondents mark the bank that best indicates how they would describe the object being rated. Thus, for example, Sears is evaluated as somewhat weak, reliable, very old-fashioned, warm, and careful. The negative adjective or phrase sometimes appear at the left side of the scale and sometimes the right. This controls the tendency of some respondents, particularly those with very positive or very negative attitudes, to mark the right or left hand sides without reading the labels. The methods for selecting the scale labels and constructing a systematic differential scale have been described elsewhere by the author. A general systematic differential scale for measuring self-concept, person concepts, and product concept on in showing this. Here some semantic differential scale for measuring self-concept, person concepts, and product concept, like these 15 examples. Then we have another type of scale that called the stable scale. The stable scale named after its developer. Gen stable is the unipolar rating scale with 10 um, categories numbered from -5 to +5. Then we have here 10 categories from -5 to +5 without a neutral point 0. This scale is usually presented vertically. Respondents are asked to indicate how accurately or inaccurately each term describes the object by selecting an appropriate numerical response category. The higher the number, the more accurately the term describes the object as shown in the department store project. In this example, Sears is evaluated as not having high quality and having somewhat poor service. And here we have the series of the scale or the stable scale. Then we have some basics about the normative scales included, some examples of the scales: the continuous rating scales, the items rating scales, Likert scale, semantic difference scale, and the stable scales. Every scale have basic characteristics and some examples. This table show the advantage and the disadvantage of these non-comparative scales. And this table shows the summary of items skills decision. It's a summary for the skills decision, like the number of categories, balanced versus the unbalanced, and the odd even number of categories, and the forced versus non-forced, and some verbal descriptions and the physical form. Every item of these items have some characteristics and important points for understanding and explain for the items skills session. Then in this table we have a comparison between the balanced scale and the unbalanced scale. Um, in the balanced scale is a scale with an equal number of favorable and unfavorable categories. In an unbalanced scale, they are unequal. Some examples of balanced and unbalanced scales are given in this figure. In general, the scale should be balanced in order to obtain objective data. However, if the distribution of respondents is likely to be skewed either positively or negatively, an unbalanced scale with more categories in the direction of sequence may be appropriate. If an unbalanced scale is used, the nature and the degree of imbalance in the scale should be taken into account in data analysis. And this figure shows the balanced and unbalanced scale. In this point, we end this chapter about the measurement and scaling, non-comparative scaling techniques. We end part 1 of chapter 5, and in the next lecture we will complete part 2 of this chapter, and we will ending the main points in this chapter. Thank you, my dear students. Goodbye.